What's good, everybody? It's Friday night. You know what that means. It's the Hustle and Grow Producer Challenge. We're talking about modern arrangement tonight. That's what's on the menu. Let's get into it.
This is a Crush Audio production.
Yes! What's good? This Hustle and Grow Producer Challenge brought to you by me, Crush Audio. I'm a Grammy-nominated producer and engineer. I'm glad you're tapping in. I hope you're getting your work done. You know, last week we talked about chord progressions. We talked about incorporating that kind of stuff into your workflow. I want to shout out a bunch of people. King Doe hit me up earlier. What's good, my man? The whole crew, CODMG. What's good? What's good? Derek Douglas, my man. Robbie Cash, what's good? Navi, what's good? The Real Concept, Nicholas the Great, what's good? How's everybody doing? How we doing tonight? Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Hustle and Grow Producer Challenge. Who did their beats this week? Naughty, naughty, if you didn't get your work done. How many people are still committed to getting their work done? We got people checking in, and they'll say, what's good? Breeze and Wheeze. Dope artists from south of this area in Nashville, but still in Tennessee, Columbia. What's good, guys? So it's like an open chat. So as people hop in, you know, we're going to hold you to it. Make sure you tap in. And, you know, whatever the topic of the day is, or the week is, this week it's modern production or modern arrangement. And all that simply means, broken down in layman's terms, is how do we put a song together? You know, usually, you know, in the modern space, in the hip hop space, what are we doing? What's good? What's good? King Doe in the house from Louisville. If you don't know the name, you better get ready to hear it. Going to be all over the place touring this spring and summer, and blessed that you tapped in with us. I'm glad you're watching, man. I'm glad you tapped in. I hope you can, you know, hopefully contribute to the conversation, because it's just an open chat, and I want to shout out as many people, but we also connect people via the chat and the network that we have going on and the community we're building. So, you know, all good people who are vouchable. Facebook did it to me again. Look, that's it. You know what? Fuck them. Continue without Crush Audio. Hopefully you're all watching on YouTube, so before they cut me off on there again, I tried all week to get that thing hooked up, and just couldn't do it. So I'm not really sure what the hell is going on. Sorry, I'm multitasking and doing a couple things at once. So what did everybody get in? I'm going to let some people get in here in the first couple minutes. We'll see who taps in as we go. I won't keep you waiting long, but I will tell you to make sure that you are tapping in with us every Friday, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. We're covering a variety of topics. If this is the first time you tapped in with us, or you're watching and you haven't hopped into the chat yet, that's cool too. But we're covering behind the scenes. Hopefully producers are working behind the scenes on the topics that we're covering throughout the week. And if not for anything, it is going to spark some conversation week to week because of the topics we cover and the examples that we play. So that's basically what it's about. As it progresses, we would love to have more people in the group share their music, share what they worked on over the course of the week, and let me play it for the group. And, that's not just, it could be a finished product, but we could talk about how you got to that finished product, just like we're going to talk about today in arrangement. And turning something that's repetitive, like a loop or something that you fall in love with, that you started writing to, how do we take that? How do we take that and turn it into something that actually tells a story, along with providing a palette for the artist, because they're the star of the show. Artists can that are tapped into the live stream, I'm sure you can attest to this. Whatever their lyrical content is, that is going to dictate sometimes where we go with the music. And I'm going to show you some examples of stuff like that. Excuse me, what the impact could be between just repeating something over and over and over again once you're onto something hot, or sucking all the life out of that thing and making the moments where that full thing that impacted you so much is going, because when you get to it, everybody is craving for that groove to come back. So there are subtle ways of doing that, and then there are real blatant ways of doing it. As far as producers are concerned. So I'm posing a question to the group. How do we take a loop that we love and turn it into a song arrangement? So I'll put that up on the screen for everybody to check out. How do we take a loop that we love and turn it into a song arrangement with, like, how does it turn into a song like that you put on your favorite way of consuming music and you're listening to music? Like, do you think people consider that? I mean, do you think the listeners consider that, or are they just strictly impacted by whatever we do? But we have to know what the fuck we're doing. That's for sure, as producers, right? So that's where this is coming from. So let me show you an example, right? Here on the screen, you have a track. And as I explained before, in Ableton, you can create over here in this window if you want. And oftentimes I do that. I'm going to show an example of that as well, and how we can get from these kind of sketches or ideas and then go over to this page and lay it out in song format, and how we can remind ourselves of what we might want, like, throughout the course of the arrangement. So for instance, I purposely have some things shut off here, but you're going to get the gist of the idea of what this thing is about, right? So that's the very beginning, right? Now, that section right there, from here that section right there, if I loop that section, I'm hitting Command L on Ableton Live on a Mac, Control L on a PC. Okay, so if I go and I do that and I loop that, this is the section that I came up with. This is like at the biggest point when I put all the loop together. I ended up with this, okay? So I could just duplicate this over and over and over again and call it a day. And many people do, but I'm going to give you, and if that's something you've done in the past, I'm going to give you some ideas or some cues to sort of help with the arrangement process. First of all, let's get some vocabulary stuff out of the way. So, intros, right? Intro, verse, hook, otherwise known as the chorus of a song, bridge, outro. There are others, okay? But if you take a look at this and you understand, okay, we already understand intro is the beginning of the song. Just ask yourself some questions. What is the vibe on the intro of the song? Do you want it to be slamming at the very beginning? Maybe you do. Maybe you want to have a broken down version of whatever the vibe of the track is or the loop is. Okay? So on the verse, we want that to be introductory material. That's a material that's telling the story, right? So you may choose to put that first, right after the intro in a song. You may choose to switch that up, and you may choose to put the hook right after the intro. On this particular example here, I took just this track, okay? And I said, okay, the beginning part of this track is this. I've got, sorry, I'm negotiating a couple of things here. All right. So if I just solo this guy, right, here's what we got. And that's no different than right here, by the way. You know, this is what I would call the hook of the song. Same thing. Right? So nothing changed here. What changed is, obviously, look at the amount of material that's happening here versus at the introduction of the song. Right? So, so all I did was take a little piece, the main piece, actually one of the main pieces, and put it at the beginning. I added some vocals, which is a little introduction as to what's to come here. And by the way, if you look up here and see the number 1, if I right click on that and say rename, I can call that the intro of the song. Now, if I go here to where it obviously drops, right here, all right, if I right click, I can add a locator. I can name it, and I can say this is hook 1. For instance, following me? These are usually in 4 or 8 or 16 bar phrases. Or 32, but it's usually like an even amount of bars or measures, right? And the introduction is usually short. A quick introduction. Nobody in the modern landscape is has a minute and a half introduction to a song. I would strongly suggest, unless you're an already established artist or whatever. What's good, Nate? Nate's in the house. Everybody's here, man. I encourage you to check in and say hi. I'm going to start adding some of these, and Sharon, our friends. I like how we work. My man. Rearrange accordingly if it's not perfectly. That's perfect. That's a gem right there. What's good, my dude? I'm trying to give some love to everybody that's checking in on the live stream. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the workflow between whoever you're working with is important as well. You know, some artists come in and some artists come in and they want to work quick. They're in creative mode. They want to get shit done. That's where knowing your shit is important, right? Knowing how to negotiate around the software, knowing how to get around and rearrange things rather quickly and sort of be in sync with what they're thinking about. If you're really paying attention and wearing a couple hats there, being an engineer, being a producer, having some musical understanding of what's going on in the song and what's going to best serve the song, right? Because that's ultimately what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure that we get the best possible product that we can and convey as much emotion throughout that song as we can as producers, as artists. So that's exactly that's a gem to share, and I think it's important overall just on the macro. So, all right, check this out. So quickly, imagine this. Since I showed you that, I can go and I could say, okay, that's the midway point. I could see it right here, right? I'm just adding 4 and 8, right? We're at a slower tempo. We're at a tempo of 83. So I'm just going through here and marking these as probably important spots. All right? That seems like that might be an important spot. And then maybe here. Maybe here. I don't know. But as I listen through, I get an idea. In this particular song, I'm basically made the decision that the biggest part of the song was going to be right here. Now, if the artist didn't want that, I'd have to be able to go in there and edit that and say, okay, I'm going to take this and replace this section with that section. Okay? And basically, if I wanted to do that, I would go up and I would save as, because I'd want to make a copy of what I was working on right here. And then I wouldn't worry about destroying the original. And I'd go in there and make the edits and snug it back up. So, not to get into that because that's not the point of this, but you can see what I'm saying. Like, if we just simply listen here, we know that when this comes out of this biggest section, something quiet is happening. Oh, goodness, I have a loop on. Here we go. Okay, so this whole section right here, with the exception of this, to me, that just seems like, I think I'd like to make that just like, almost like a revisit of the intro. And you'll get this in a lot of modern music, you know? You'll get the introduction in a bang, because they want to catch your attention. They want to catch your attention in the first, 2 10, 15 seconds, right? Hey, happy Friday. Hello. What's going on? Just chilling. Robbie Cash. What's going on, my man? Super good question right there. What he's asking is how important do you think an eye-catching intro is, and how do you balance that with still leaving room for the beat to build? And progress without getting too complex. Okay. Whew. Lot for me to read in my current state after being about 8 hours in here. I'm teasing. That's an excellent question. And, I encourage people in the group to answer these questions as well and give their perspective. I'll answer all of them. But to answer that one directly while it's on the top of my head, I think every producer is going to develop their own things that they are sort of known for or that they like to do. It's like somebody who's a poker player that has tells. Any Rounders fans out here? Anybody ever watch the movie Rounders? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat if you, I'm going to pose that too. How many of you have seen the movie Rounders? John Malkovich. Anyway, the point is this, in poker, people have tells maybe. People who are body linguistics or not linguistics, but who are body posture and mannerisms, all that stuff. Who they they sort of watch those things, right? Those kind of things are sort of cool with producers, right? Sometimes we'll have tells. Like, for instance, I'm going somewhere here. I don't have, I personally, as a producer, I haven't put a lot of emphasis on intros, and it made me just start thinking about that. But some producers may want to, really catch the listener's ear at the very beginning. I think that's what happened in arrangement with stuff like, the hook coming in. You'll see the hook coming in, the arrangement, a lot of times right off the rip, And I have one artist, shout out to MC10. I don't know if he's here or not. But I had one artist that used to like to, one of his things was he was going right from the downbeat of the first measure. I had to give him a 2-measure pre-roll. Like, if you look here, you know what I mean? I'd have to move everything over literally 2 measures because he would want to go on the first measure. But as far as the intro is concerned, I think anything maybe in an arrangement, here's an idea. You have a big, huge intro, orchestral maybe is what I was thinking in my head. You have strings, you have something big happening. And then, boom, whenever the intro's over, it all drops away and goes away. I don't try and match energy with energy. Let's put it that way. I try and let the music, just in my head, I'm just giving you my perspective to answer the question originally from Robbie. That's sort of what I'm thinking about whenever I'm thinking about an arrangement. or just a song in general, a lot of times I'm thinking about how's this thing gonna have an arc, and where are the arcs? Where are the hooks? Like we talked about last week. Where are the melodic hooks? Where are the harmonic ideas? You don't have to have all in one soup, right? But I'm looking to try and latch on to what's going on in this song. And then I'm trying to play off of that to see how I can enhance that and leave an option open, still a palette open for the artist. I'm going to add this for a 8-bar intro. Yeah, I agree. I'd like for the song to get set up, So I of course, man, you're welcome. You're welcome, bro. I'd like the song to get set up too. And I'd like to think about just leaving some space. So once I made the decision also, for the purposes of this, let's say that I had an artist in the room with me right now and we were making these decisions. And let's say we came to these decisions, like, here's the hook, okay, we came out of that. Here's this number 2 part. We're going to call this what we would call a tag. This is just just take a pause for a second. Let's breathe for a second. Maybe in this section in a song, an artist is talking or setting up, or it's almost like a pickup into a measure if you're a musician. And you could think of it that way. You'd let it go, there's a little bit of space. Right? You let it go, there's a little bit of space. It's like, what I'm talking about? This. You know what I'm saying? And then that's a pickup into the next measure. Now you've gotten out of this bigger section. Right? You've let it breathe. And to enhance these sections, sometimes I'll do stuff like add stuff like this. Little different. Listen to the beginning. All right, sort of just setting the stage for what's going to happen. Now there's going to be some tension. Stop. Back in. That's what's going on in my brain, right? To try and make it hit right there. That's your no. I think that's the beauty of it too. Dope. I agree with you, man. That's what makes music beautiful. You could approach this or any creative endeavor like infinite amount of ways. You could turn. It's been done so many times. I mean, it's probably cliche, but you can turn a song into anything. I mean, that's been proven time and time over. I mean, by artists like recreating a song that was done by another artist in another genre that was totally outside of, Johnny Cash, 9 Inch Nails, right? So that kind of stuff is like the beauty of what we do. And, this stuff here is the geek shit. This is the stuff that the producer, but it's critical to know, because behind the scenes, if you're struggling with all this stuff as a producer, you're fucking over the artist, right? And if you're fucking over the artist, I'm saying, realistically you are, because if that artist is ready to go creatively, I've been in situations, guys, like, let's talk about it for a second. Been in some situations where, have you I was just getting ready to say, have you ever gotten your ASS reamed, but gotten disciplined in a work environment and had to just suck it up? Because like in the studio environment, if you do something wrong or if you're in over your head, which the only way you'd learn is by getting in over your head. And if you're in over your head, there's a chance you're going to make some mistakes. And when those mistakes happen, if the people who are around you are having a bad day, or less likely they're bad people, most of the musician world, and especially everything I've encountered in Nashville, everybody, even from the highest level musician that I've encountered, is very kind and gracious with their time. But that doesn't mean they don't have bad days, and that doesn't mean they don't get pissed off at me if I screw something up. And especially in the past, you know what I mean? It's like you have to take it sometimes as a producer, I'm saying. I'm not challenging anybody's womanhood or manhood. I'm just saying, in that particular situation, especially when you're in the wrong, that's why I always obsess and tell all my students and people who come through the Apprentice Academy, shout out, shameless plug for the Apprentice Academy. That's why I always tell everyone that I'm acquainted with, you know what I mean? That's like, it's very, very important, you know what I mean, to know your shit, because you don't want to feel that. After you feel that shit and you get reamed out a few times and maybe not even through fault of your own, you just haven't had enough experience, it makes you that much hungrier to like get this shit handled. Understand the language that's being spoken. It'll open up doors for you to be able to speak that language in other rooms. Stuff like, if you immediately know what stuff like an intro, a hook, a verse, a tag, a bridge is, then you're playing in the game anyway, and you already understand that, but that doesn't mean you can't think about arrangements creatively a different way. I could throw you out, and I will, some examples of some crazy shit that you can do that are real major curveballs. There are no curveballs here, right? This is just very simply us laying out, and I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but this is us laying out what this arrangement was. The energy came back down in the verse. How did I do that? I got rid of the open hi-hat that you see right here. I had a crash identify the beginning of the section. Okay? Now, I don't have any processing on this. This will start sounding a little bit better here. Okay. So that verse goes all the way through till right here. And there's your curveball, right? You would think that's going to go right into something, right? You would think that it is going to go into that. Instead, it drops off the face of the earth. What? And now we're back, right? So that was my idea of throwing a little curveball. Remember how I said everything is usually in two. Usually you get usual arrangements. Sorry, I'm writing and talking. Usual arrangements include, 4, 8, 16 bar sections, i.e., intro, verse, chorus. Okay? So, that's basically the deal. So, having said that, what did I do? I took something and just cut it in half. Instead of it being 4 bars, if we're going to break down here, you'd think it'd be the same way as here, right? It took us 4 bars to get back to, right? And these drum fills and stuff like this, I would change this according to whatever artist ended up doing this. We're assuming that this is all approved and everything, you know what I mean? This is just a sketch. But, so now, it goes away and it's back. So we know this was a little trick. We'll call that a tag there. And this is our hook 2, the second time, hook 2, right? So, I'm just making sure. Anybody have any questions in the chat? If you do, put it in there now and let me know. But basically, the rest of this is self-explanatory because after energy comes some release of energy. So after all this, right, it's going to go away again. We did it for 2 measures again and a restatement. Second verse. Okay? So that's how this particular song was laid out. It was laid out, what's the arrangement of this? Okay, so we've got intro, we got intro, we got hook 1, we got tag, verse 1, and we got tag, hook 2, then we have verse 2 starting. So that is the like if I were going to write that out for somebody who was sort of like in the music game, that'd be something I could write to them and say, here, this is the arrangement. So when you're listening to this, like if I sent this to an artist, hey, if you're listening to this, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about this. Maybe we even shorten this thing. You know what I mean? And as a producer, like if I wanted to shorten it, I just make sure I go in and let's see if we shorten it. For instance, I'm going to get rid of all that. I'm going to select this. I'm going to go all the way to here. Right? I'm going to open this up and bring it right to there. Right there. Almost symbiotic, yeah. Yeah. And, where's that come from? And what are some of the other, that's 100% right. It's just like, almost like you are determining if you're creating music, right? If you're creating the music with the artist or as a producer, maybe you're solely doing that, creating a beat. Simple as that. Let's put it in the simplest terms. If you're doing that, then, it is a bit of a power trip, right? I mean, you control all of that. You dictate how they're going to feel and when they're going to feel it, right? Now, you may have an artist that comes in and says, hey, I love everything about this, but that's a little bit too far. What you did right here, that's too much. You need to go back to the way it was. And you know what I'd do? I'd simply just be like, okay, sure. And we're back. And remember, I said before, I was talking about like, I'd have a save as, as a producer, I'd have a save as, meaning I'd have a backup file saved of the original anyway, so I can experiment with the arrangement. And this is purposely long. This one here. But what we're going to do is we'll go and we'll take a look. Yeah, we could save that. We'll take a look at what we can do with something that's just a sketch. Check this out. We only have about 15 minutes, right? So I'm putting the clock up, all right, for myself because I'm a moron. Yes, thank you for that. All right. So here we go. All we have here, what are you looking at? You're looking at Maschine, because that's where a lot of the music is. Okay? These are a bunch of patterns that I came up with. I am going to be switching through those patterns like all over the place. So I'm going to be in the screen listening to the patterns that are on the screen right here. And I'm going to be just like flipping around through all of these different areas, right? Maybe that's probably the best shot, right? So check this out. We have just a loop going, right? I'm going to turn everything off. And if I were to go with this one, and we won't even turn Maschine on. Okay, so check this out. Here we go.
And we show up. Hit now.
Here we go.
And we show up.
I got it.
Hit now. Hit now. And we show up. Hit now. And we show up. Hit now. Hit now. And we show up. Hit now. And we show up. Hit now. Hit now. And we show up.
All I'm doing is triggering patterns here. As you can see, I'm going to go through some of these, and I have power to also turn them back off.
And we show up. Hit now. And we show up.
and we can control it any way we want. So I'm thinking about different combinations I can make with these patterns right here that are going to create the arrangement that happens over here from left to right. And when I finally figure that out, no matter how many instruments I have going right here, I will record that live into this section and create my own arrangements. And I would suggest you try and do this stuff too. If you're a producer, this is a cool little workflow. If you're working in Ableton and you have Ableton, then check this out. I don't know if you know about this or if your workflow dictates this, but this is a way of going from this strings too loud, so we adjust. All right, now once I figure out what's going to happen here, if I want to record on the other side, all I have to do is hit this big record button, and I'm going to show you what happens. It's pretty friggin' amazing. All right, here we go. Here we go. So we're starting right where we started at the very beginning. Here we go. We're going to hit this. So we're going to hit this record button. Here we go. We're going to get a count in. And this is, I'm thinking, maybe the intro. Maybe it's still the intro. I don't know. But I'd like this vibe for a second. Now we'll get into it. I'm going to add the strings. Now we're going to go back to the very beginning, and I'm going to turn the drums off. And if we take a peek on this side, we're recording all of that on this side. I like that vibe. And I'm just playing around. The point is, now, check this out. Over here, I've got the opportunity to click over on this screen. And when I do that, if I hit this button, look guys, it recorded everything except for the drums. And I'm going to show you something really cool in the last 5 minutes I have, how to get those drums out and broken out. Say we'd like this arrangement. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, and let's say we go away here. I'm playing around with this just via the drum machine. All right, and we'll drop it here. What do you think? Bring the drums in right here, maybe? And then we drop it maybe right here. It's not over. It's not over. Right? So I basically, the vocals and the parts, now typically, check it out. In all honesty, typically I'd have the drums broken out already, or sometimes I do it over here, and it's telling me I have 5 minutes, so I'm going to show you something. Command T. I just hit it a bunch of times. Command T. I shift and clicked it, and I double right clicked here. So I shift, I click, shift click, and then right click. And I'm going to make all these red. These are going to be the drums. I'm going to show you how I break out. Let's take the biggest part, which I just landed on the biggest section, right? I can go through here, and for those of you that have machine, I'm giving you gold right now. I don't take the audio from this pattern. I take the audio from here, and I go through each one that has MIDI happening. Okay? Kick drum? No. Clap? Yep. So I go down here, and I do this. And I drag. Now I have it bounced out. Now I go down to the next one. Look at that. I have MIDI, click, drag. Over here. Sometimes you'll get a tail. I just line it up real quick. Come back. Okay. Open hi-hat. No. Kick. Yep. Click. Put the kick here. On the top. Always. Clap. See those? Click. I could tell because there's information there, right? And I'm going through the rest of these. Here we go. Here's another one. Boom. That looks like 808, right? Let's turn the machine off. Just listen to these. I'm building it real quick. I'm hitting Command D. All right. I need some more audio channels. I only have a couple more minutes, but I'm trying to show you how quickly you can get this happening. I'm still in this pattern. I got some, I knew I had more stuff. Boom. Now I'm holding Option, I'm clicking and dragging. Now here, I'll just hit Command D, duplicate. I'll highlight these, bring all those over here.
We show up,
Probably add this here.
hit now.
Yep.
And we show up,
Thank you, man.
now, hit now.
Appreciate it.
And we show up, now.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Right? So check it out.
And we show up, hit now. And we show up,
I think I may have placed that in the wrong spot. No? Yeah. Three, four.
and we show up.
Look at that. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. So we have a minute left, right?
And we show up, hit
Right?
now. And we show up,
There you go.
and we show up.
So boom. Follow Crush Audio on the Crush Audio Facebook page. I can't talk. You know what? I mean, they drop the live stream all the time, so I don't even know why I'm saying that. Thank you, YouTube. Appreciate it. I need to get on X too, so I don't know. Tell me good platforms to go on. I'll go on those.
And we show up,
YouTube's been solid. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate everybody. Really, really appreciate you. Appreciate you stopping by tonight. That was awesome. Thank you. If you want to send in your work next week, send it. Send it to Crush Audio. It's running on the bottom of the screen. Send me some music. Send me some stuff. Producers, make some beats. Send me some stuff.
we show up,
I'm not trying to rip you off.
hit now.
I'm trying to help you out. Catch you next time. Peace.
We show up, now. And we show up,
Thank you to everybody that tapped in. I'll catch you next week.
we show up,
What the hell are we talking about next week?
and we show up. Hit now, hit now.
Mixing basics next week. That's gonna be dope. We'll take that,
We show up,
you know, this thing and make it sound better. We'll take whatever I was working on over the course of the week, and we'll also give you some pointers just in general so you can think about mixing your beats in a better way. Give yourself more headroom so you can make your beats louder and not just crush shit, you know? Give you some ideas to think about from an engineer perspective. So until then, peace.